据韩媒3月3号报道，部署在阿联酋的韩国天宫2号国产防空导弹系统成功拦截了伊朗发射的导弹，这是韩国国产防空武器首次在出海外后投入实战运用。据悉，截至目前已有2套在阿联酋军方完成实战部署。
사실만 전달하는 국뽕부라더 한국이 현재 이름을 떨치고 있습니다. 이스라엘과 미국과의 전쟁에서 이란은 무차별적인 보복 공격을 감행했습니다. 이란은 걸프 국가들의 미사일을 발사하는 강력한 공격을 퍼부었습니다. 아랍에미리트에는 이란이 발사한 수많은 미사일이 쏟아졌습니다. 그걸 보고 있는 국민들은 공포에 떨었습니다. 하지만 이내 반전된 상황에 넋이 나가고 말았습니다. 아랍에미리트에 있는 한국산 청공2가 모조리 요격해버렸고 별다른 피해가 없었기 때문입니다. 여러 매체에 따르면 무려 96%에 달하는 요격 명중률을 기록한 것으로 파악됐는데요. 이에 따라 해외 군사 전문 매체는 말도 안 된다며 이런 기사를 보도했습니다.
South Korea rushes Cheonggung-2 missile interceptors to the UAE as the Iranian missile threat forces emergency air defense reinforcement. An emergency C-17 airlift of South Korean Cheonggung-2 interceptors signals rapid reinforcement of the UAE's layered missile defense network after the system achieved up to 96% success, intercepting Iranian missiles and drones. South Korea's decision to launch an emergency airlift of interceptor missiles to the United Arab Emirates using Republic of Korea Air Force C-17 transport aircraft signals a sudden recalibration of regional missile defense logistics as Iranian missile activity and proxy warfare intensify pressure on Gulf air defense systems. The deployment of roughly 30 interceptor missiles drawn directly from South Korean operational reserves highlights the strategic urgency of sustaining the UAE's layered missile defense network, following the Cheonggung-2 system's first real-world combat use against Iranian ballistic missiles and drones in recent regional confrontations. The Cheonggung-2 system's first operational deployment in the United Arab Emirates provided a real-world proving ground for the missile defense architecture under conditions involving ballistic missile launches and coordinated drone attacks. During recent regional confrontations involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, Iranian missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles targeted critical infrastructure and military assets across the Gulf region. Integrated within the UAE's existing missile defense network, the Cheonggung-2 system engaged incoming threats alongside American-supplied Patriot and THAAD systems. This layered configuration allowed each missile defense system to address different altitude ranges and threat profiles within a comprehensive air defense architecture designed to intercept ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. Operational reports from South Korean defense officials indicate that the Cheonggung-2 achieved interception success rates estimated between 90% and 96% during these engagements.
이어서 이런 성과로 인해 한국은 미국과 러시아를 뛰어넘는 방산 수출 국가가 될 것이라고 평가하기도 했는데 그 이유를 들어보면 와, 한국이 이 정도라고? 라는 생각이 들 정도였습니다.
Such performance metrics suggest that the system's hit-to-kill interception mechanism successfully neutralized incoming threats without relying on explosive warheads that could increase collateral damage risks. The interception method uses direct kinetic impact to destroy hostile missiles or drones through high-velocity collision, maximizing lethality against fast-moving aerial targets. These developments indicate that South Korea's missile defense industry is emerging as a significant supplier in a global market traditionally dominated by American and Russian manufacturers. Arms exports exceeding $17 billion in 2025 illustrate how defense sales have become a major component of South Korea's industrial and diplomatic strategy.
실제로 현재 아랍에미리트는 우리 정부의 요격 미사일 조기 공급을 긴급하게 요청했습니다. 참고로 UAE 즉 아랍에미리트는 중동 국가 중 청공2를 처음 도입한 나라인데 정말 탁월한 선택을 했던 것입니다. 현재 굉장히 혼란한 상황에서 압도적인 성능을 보였으니 더 쟁여둬야 된다는 압박감을 받은 것입니다. 실제로 중동 국가에서는 미국 제품보다 가성비가 뛰어난 한국산 제품에 눈을 돌리고 있고 다른 국가들보다 빠르게 주문을 넣어야 하는 상황이 되었습니다. 이런 상황에 해외 네티즌들은 이런 반응을 보였습니다. 아랍에미리트에게는 절묘한 타이밍이며 이는 청공2의 판매 증가로 이어질 게 분명해 미국 시스템보다 훨씬 저렴한 가격이면서도 중국 시스템보다 더 신뢰성이 높습니다. 라며 분명히 완전히 집중이 청공2에 몰린 것을 알 수 있었습니다. 사실 한국이 이토록 미사일을 방어하는 시스템을 성장시킬 수밖에 없던 이유가 있습니다. 미사일로 매번 협박하는 미치광이 북한과 바로 붙어있는 나라가 한국이기 때문이죠. 그런데 이뿐만이 아니라 해외에서는 한국이 방산 시장에서 성공할 수밖에 없었던 이유가 있다고 말합니다. 구독자 200만에 달하는 군사 전문 채널에서는 먼저 한국이 어떤 말도 안 되는 성장을 했는지 설명합니다.
Why is South Korea, who just a few short years ago was a minor player in the global defense industry, suddenly becoming a powerhouse? Global military spending hit $2.718 trillion in 2024, at least according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI. That is a lot of money, but the one problem that a lot of that money is running into is production capacity. You can fund the program and sign the contract, but if the factories and shipyards are already booked, delivery dates don't just magically move closer. So buyers have started filtering the market differently. It's not just what's the best system, but who can actually deliver soon, in volume, and with spares and support. That shift is a big reason why South Korea keeps showing up in deal after deal. According to SIPRI, South Korea was at about 2.2% of global major arms exports in 2020 to 2024. That put them at about 10th overall. From 2010 to 2014, the country was at just 0.9%. This is in large part because South Korea has something a lot of countries are short on right now, an industrial base that can build high-end hardware at scale, like chips, cars, and ships, and then apply that same production discipline to defense.
이어서 한국은 원래 준비되어 있던 나라야. 그저 단순히 운이 아니라니까 라고 외치기 시작했습니다.
Who has capacity right now? The US has it in some areas and not in others. Europe has it in some areas and not in others. And South Korea has it in a bunch of places people suddenly care about. To understand why, you have to back up and look at South Korean manufacturing in general, because the defense story is basically the industrial story just wearing camouflage. South Korea built its modern economy by exporting manufactured goods into markets that don't tolerate excuses. Semiconductors are its biggest export item at $141.9 billion in 2024. These are some of the most difficult things to make, with tolerances measured in nanometers. To put that into perspective, 1 millimeter is 100,000 nanometers. So to build semiconductors at scale is just no easy task. That pressure creates a particular kind of national competency, process control, supplier networks, automation, and a culture that treats quality and throughput like survival skills. The big thing, automation, is where South Korea has a noticeable advantage. The U.S. Department of Commerce, citing the International Federation of Robots, says that South Korea has the world's highest robot density at 1,012 industrial robots per 10,000 manufacturing workers. Then there's heavy industry. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, which I will call UNCTAD, notes that in 2023, China, South Korea, and Japan accounted for about 95% of global shipbuilding output, and South Korea's share was 28.2%. Shipbuilding is really where you see the Korean advantage in a way that's hard to fake. You're talking about massive projects with complex supply chains and schedules that punish you if you can't coordinate thousands of parts, hundreds of contractors, and a workforce that has to do the same job the same way every single time. This expertise shows up repeatedly through their other industries like automotive, appliances, and consumer electronics. This is the bridge to defense. Modern weapons are not built in isolation. They're built out of motors, power electronics, sensors, precision machining, high-quality steel, and a supply chain that can keep up. If you're already building cars, ships, and consumer electronics at a global scale, you've already built a lot of the habits and infrastructure that defense manufacturing depends on. So when people say South Korea can deliver defense gear fast, what they're really saying is South Korea has an economy built around turning designs into repeatable production.
정말 대단하죠? 생각해보면 반도체 잘 만들고 자동차 잘 만들고 심지어 배도 잘 만듭니다. 이 기술과 생산 시스템을 그대로 옮기면 됐고 결국 성과를 보인 것입니다. 물론 한국에 감탄하는 이런 현상을 보고 있으면 참 놀랍지만 마냥 기뻐할 수는 없는 현실입니다. 전쟁은 없어야겠죠? 저는 여러분 곁에서 가짜뉴스를 걸러내고 진짜 해외 반응 소식을 전해드립니다. 속는 게 바보가 아니라 속이는 게 나쁜 겁니다. 구독과 좋아요, 알림 설정을 조심스럽게 부탁드려 봅니다. 영상을 끝까지 시청해주신 분들 정말 감사합니다.